Pretty quiet elevators, huh? Dining room. We could have taken the next one. It's a busy building, detective. Can't hold everyone else on our account. Anything you'd like to grumble at me before I start? Don't touch anything. I don't care that you're wearing gloves. I have been to crime scenes before, you know. Long before the police get there in many cases. Look, Rockford asked me not to get in your way, but that doesn't mean I'm going to bend over for you. Do you at least have the autopsy report? No. Are you seriously? I don't. She doesn't? The report should have come in hours ago. It wouldn't take this long unless the cause of death was still. Then I'd settle for a summary of the preliminary findings. An emergency call was made shortly after 8 p.m. last night via the home security system. Emergency medical services had a VTOL in the air within a minute. They landed on the penthouse's helipad at 8:08. Dr. Asher was found unconscious with low blood pressure and a weak heartbeat. He wasn't breathing. In-flight auto triage administered artificial CPR while in transit to Gatesfield Memorial. He was declared dead a few minutes after being taken to the emergency wing. See. The cause of death is being investigated. Make an educated guess. He stopped breathing, so they gave him oxygen. His heart stopped pumping, so they had the machines take over. His brain activity dropped to 0. There wasn't anything else they could do. It was poison, wasn't it? What kind? You don't know, do you? Ah, they don't know either. Like I said, ma'am, we don't have the autopsy report yet. Why are you certain it was poison, Adonai? Couldn't it have been an accidental overdose? If he had overdosed on a commercial drug, even a pre-med suit would have spotted it on the hospital's intake screening. They would have been able to pump his stomach, neutralize his bloodstream, and he would have lived. But he didn't live. So it must have been something deadly. A compound designed solely to kill. Fast-acting deadly poison that causes respiratory failure. The list can't be that long. Even just through the process of elimination, the medical examiner should have identified it by now, unless... You suspect a designer drug, don't you, detective? Why is it you're only quick on the uptake when it suits you? Nothing else makes sense given what we know and what we don't. But the CDCA decriminalized and cataloged all recreational drugs. Guess you aren't entirely clueless about politics. So whatever Father overdosed on should have been in the hospital's database. You need to update your definitions. You're confusing designer drugs with recreational drugs. What is the difference? Recreational drugs are decriminalized and sold through pharmacies after years of testing and mountains of paperwork. While the average designer drug was invented last week in a 19-year-old line cook's bathroom on the other side of the globe. Hospitals can't know the proper countermeasures for an overdose of a drug that didn't exist 48 hours ago. I came across makeshift labs all the time when I was at uniform. The equipment's cheap and widely available. Black market cooks, gray market peddlers, and white collar lobbyists, all chasing each other's tails in a long line to find the next big hit. CDCA didn't change shit. More people die from ODs than ever before. Only difference is it's their families finding them in the living room and not beat cops finding them on street corners. Real comforting, I'm sure. If it wasn't you talking, I'd say that was a criticism of law enforcement. Not law enforcement, just a law. Assuming it was a designer drug, that would certainly make things more complicated. For the insurance guys, maybe. For us, whatever he used to do it, he still killed himself. Or didn't kill himself, if you insist. I'm gonna take a look around now. Yeah, sure. Make yourself at home. What's that face for? I thought that there would be an outline. An outline? Around where they found Father. Like in the movies? Like in film? Connect to the police's network and bring up their ARCS file. Augmented reality crime scene. I see. There is an outline. And so this is where he died at the hospital. This is just where the medics found him. And it's the sensors and cameras they were wearing that create the basis for this art. They didn't realize they were walking into a crime scene, but their body cams gather data all the same. Where do we start? You can start by following behind me and trying to be as quiet as possible. I'm starting to get a feel for when she's pouting, even without looking. Chessboard and a data pad with a series of characters on it. E4, C5, NF3, E6, D4, CX, D4, NX, D4. This is a game. Algebraic notation. Was he studying an old game or playing against himself? Black has checkmate 40 moves. Wow, a robot that's good at chess. We gotta put you in a museum. But I'll take your word for it. What do you mean? Do you not play, Adonai? No. Especially not against David. Well, that is to be expected. Anyone who challenged father to a battle of wits would naturally grow tired of losing. Every game starts the same. Each player has the same pieces, the same moves, the same options. It's a true test of wit, strategy, and forethought. To me, it always seemed too boring. Too fair. The smarter player wins every time. And that is something you take fault with? Of course. How's a guy like me supposed to win a game like that? I always admired this view. The buildings gleam with reflections of holograms and sunlight, and their shadows obscure all the rundown, rotting parts of town. Maybe the view's secondary. Maybe all anyone really wants is to put as much distance between them and the street level as possible. Is it possible that a witness could have seen something through these windows? Not through these windows. No, David has sold wide spectrum auto tint in all his homes, all his cars. I didn't know that. Well, you wouldn't notice unless you were viewing the penthouse from more than... Why did he care so much about his windows? Better take a close look. Password locked, but already cracked by the police, it seems. All the docs were taken home safely. Nothing spicy. Oh, when was it last used? 7:48 p.m. Schmorg, check the Discord. Sorry, I got really hungry out of nowhere in the middle of all this. "7:48 p.m. Still reading more females only a few minutes before he committed suicide. Morbid. There's a lot of messages marked priority that are breadcrumb their way back to. An article. In a stunning and heroic episode, one of our nation's brave soldiers had their life saved by a noble android in a way that no other competitor product could. A brave private named Withheld was wounded during a military operation, whose exact nature and location is currently classified. Bleeding badly and far from the nearest triage station, he was carried to safety by his fellow freedom fighter, an Animate 16 Enforcer, one of the very few warm androids being currently tested out by the armed forces. But the android didn't just sit there and wait for evac. It opened up its own arteries and pumped life-saving UD, universal synthetic plasma, into the young man's veins, stabilizing him long enough for him to reach a military hospital. I have no doubts he'd be dead if there was any other androids fighting alongside him, said one commanding officer who was asked not to be named. I always thought Noble was only good at making ads that look good. Now I know they've got something inside them that no one else can compete with. The story brings a well-deserved shot in the arm to Noble's stock prices and market share. This one heroic moment, Noble's warm androids have proven themselves to be worth their price tag and then some. And the people in the capital are paying attention. Certainly an interesting idea, Senator Mathing said when asked about committing to a military contract for Noble to provide armed forces with warm models. This story's got people talking, and if we just ignored our constituents' feelings on this matter, we'd be neglecting our duty as politicians, and I know none of my peers would ever try to put a price on the life of one of our soldiers. While additional details about the incident have remained closely guarded, the net is already ablaze with talks of, "Oh damn, you're not logged into this device. Why don't you pop your user details down below and enable Chrome so you can get the user experience you deserve?" This is that article that I've seen going around. Why would Noble have it marked as priority? Sergeant said they weren't in any rush to pat each other on the back over it. Even though they'd won themselves a real prize. It's a nice fat bump in PR for Noble. One of the ads saving a soldier's life. Except they weren't really struggling with popularity to begin with. Guess more good press never hurts. Shit, wrong answer. Spilled alcohol. The arc shows how it looked last night before it evaporated. No foreign substances in the puddle. It's clean. So does that mean wherever the spill came from must be clean as well? Rose River Whiskey, 12 years old. You recognize it? Sure. He was more than partial to the brand. It's a good brand, only a bit overpriced, which is the bargain of a lifetime in David's world. It appears the police have already tested its contents. No foreign matters presence was their conclusion. Is it possible that the police missed the poison? No, even if they can't identify the poison, they can detect its presence by comparing samples of the whiskey to a bottle off the store shelf. So we can eliminate the possibility that the bottle of whiskey was poisoned. We'll have to find her smoking gun elsewhere. Two cups, one empty, knocked over, and one mostly empty. These look cheap. Did his guest bring them? I've seen them before in the basement liquor cabinet. Kept these lying around? I knew he re-gifted those crystal glasses. I got him. Mark says there's nothing foreign in the upright one, so it can't have been poisoned. Results are inconclusive on the other cup, however. Looks bone dry. Must have been nothing but fumes left by the time this was considered a crime scene. Just not enough for them to test. Inconclusive could mean... Inconclusive means inconclusive. That's all. Hurry up and read me the results of the fingerprinting. Father's prints are on both cups, as expected. But there are someone else's on the upright cup, so someone else must have been with him last night. Slow down. All that proves is that someone else touched the cup. Doesn't tell us when they did it. Since we don't know who the prints belong to, Ed and I, why don't we know who the prints belong to? Are the prints flagged as unidentified or... No. There's a space for a name, but the field is black. Shit. Am I already that late to the action? Detective Reyes. Yeah? There's a second set of prints on the cups. Is there a form you'd like me to sign? Doesn't matter how nicely you ask, sometimes people just can't answer. You should know that damn well, Madam Counselor. I was afraid you'd say that. I don't understand, Adonai. What does this mean? It means that whoever these prints belong to has very proactive representation. Those prints belong to a witness, as you've guessed. You're more than welcome to their testimony. But their identity is... The department is being very considerate of the witness's privacy out of respect for their time and appreciation for their cooperation. Fine, forget the name. That easily? Subpoenas are always an option, but I'm short on time. What did the witness have to say for themselves, Detective? To paraphrase, they came to see Dr. Asher last night. Two of them talked, and they had a drink together. Then the doctor got sick, so they activated the emergency system from the panel in the kitchen. The EMTs came and took them both to the hospital. Asher's condition got worse. All of the witnesses' vitals were normal. The witness had their vitals taken? Then there should be a record of their admission at Gatesfield. And that's it. I'm guessing you didn't just take all of that on faith. What number is set up in most of the rooms on this floor? Everything the witness told us was corroborated by the building zone surveillance system. So yeah, we can guarantee that the witness never put anything into Asher's drink. I'm guessing that I can't have the keys to the penumbra, can I? Not until the witness's lawyers are done reviewing it. Lawyers. Plural? I don't have time to trade jabs with the law offices of Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. Say, how about I give you their business card? Say, how about I give you their business card? Sorry, I was trying to scratch my leg. The law offices of Cochler, Gustav, Prince and Prince. That was close. No way I'll be getting any client information out of them directly. If all you bloodsuckers want to get together and tear each other apart, text me before you start. I'd like to watch. Yeah, I bet you like to watch. What? What? What does that even mean? I don't know. Needed a moment to think. So that was it? One chat, one peek at the cams, and you've already eliminated them as the suspect? Look. They were searched. They didn't have any poison, any drugs, not even a stick of gum. Even if they somehow did have poison on them, the camera footage confirms they had no opportunity to use it. They drank from the same bottle as the dead man. As far as the department's concerned, they were nearly the second victim. But they aren't dead or even ill from the sound of things. So you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand, then poured the So you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand, then poured for both the... Why is that sentence not coming out right? So you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand, then poured for the both of them from a safe bottle? That's what the evidence is telling us. There's nothing in the bottle or the witness's cup. but after drinking from his cup, a cup he prepared himself, he fell ill and the witness didn't. And Asher died with a foreign substance in his body. An unidentified foreign substance. Suicide by poison. I get that you were close and simple explanations aren't all that satisfying. But that's life. One last thing. You just said he prepared his cup himself. Did you see that on camera? He left the parlor to get the drinks and came back with his already poured. The witnesses say he got them from the basement. The witness says that, not the cameras. There's no cams in the lab or the basement. Seems like a security hazard. Why would Noble not set up things more carefully? It's intentional. If cams of his lab ever got hacked, outsiders could steal his IP and kick Noble's monopoly to the curb. Right. David did complain about Noble's weird protocols for combating corporate espionage. At least we can take comfort in knowing that Father wasn't alone when he died. Yeah, that's worth investigating. Police androids monitoring the scene. Could almost mistake them for the real thing, the way they stand there trying to look important. Like an indoor dog taking its first trip to the park. Pardon? Why are you looking at it like you've never seen an android before? Because I haven't, in person. David didn't even let you have a mirror? Brutal. Just scan his chin if you're that curious. Unless that's considered too forward or whatever. It says here that when the medics arrived, he was on the floor face up. Does that tell you something? Hey, if you were gonna drink a glass of poison, would you be sitting or standing when you did it? I find it very difficult to speculate on that, a hypothetical scenario. The seat by his body is pulled out. If he was seated when he lost consciousness, I would expect to find him slumped over on the table. But he wasn't found slumped over. No, he wasn't. And if he had been standing when he lost consciousness, I think he would have fallen forward, or at least collapsed, less neatly. So what can you conclude from that, Adonai? Only that I'm missing something. One chair knocked over, probably where David was sitting. And one chair pulled out, a party of two. Never cared much for socializing, but he enjoyed hosting. Contradictory guy. Seems like that's everything critical on this side of the room. Which leaves the kitchen. Said there's camera footage of the dining room showing David and his guest. What about in here? Only camera in the kitchen is the one mounted on the call terminal. The console took a snap image when the witness ran in to contact emergency services. Yeah, see it? Not unless you scrape the witness's face off the pic first. Don't tempt me. This is where the emergency call was made. What time did the call go out? 8:04 p.m. Before you ask, the witness left the parlor at 8:03 p.m. Not enough time for them to alter the scene. I wasn't gonna ask that. When did the medics arrive? 8:08, remember? That was response time for a penthouse. Private EMS came by air? Yeah, they landed on the VTOL pad you saw outside. Took them to Gatesfield. The very best if you can afford it. Looking around here, seems like he could afford a lot. He got his insurance through his employer, just like most people. Gattaca's Executive Plan 4 isn't like most people, Counselor. Yeah, at executive level? Not like most people at all. This is a fridge? I thought this was like a door outside. David's fridge. Normally I wouldn't go poking in the pantry at a crime scene, but this was a poisoning. Some white wines chilling in the drawer, some real cheap liquor stuffed in the icebox. Old habits. Reyes, you said he left the parlor and came back with that whiskey from the basement? Huh. That's what the cams show, yeah. There's plenty to drink right here, and unlike the cabinet downstairs, it's actually cold. Must have wanted Rose River in particular. What's that look for? You hungry? I am an android. I do not get hungry. Are you being sarcastic? Only mostly. Thought you said you required organic nourishment. I do ingest organic substances, but that doesn't mean that I experience hunger as you do. So when you don't ingest organic substances for a long time, I become tired. What a great feature. And when I'm done digesting, I don't need to know. Messy workspaces, but a pristine kitchen. David was a good cook, but only for others. Unless he had a guess, he'd happily eat instant ramen and protein bars for all 3 meals, or 2 or 1. No signs of food prep to be found, not so much as a cheese board. So whoever this guest was, they must have shown up unannounced. Three unwashed dishes and a single glass. Yes, these dishes haven't been scanned for prints yet. And I just assumed you might want to do your job. Yeah, there are prints. Most matched the victim. But there's also... Hey! Don't sneak up on me like that. All I did was walk over to you. You knocked over the salt, Adonai. I was focused on the task at hand. Didn't realize tunnel vision was a selling point on your mod. Adonai, the salt. As I was saying, the witnesses' prints are on that glass. That glass in the sink? They were drinking from cups in the parlor. Did you see a glass on camera? No. So when did they touch this glass? You need to toss it over your shoulder. Witness must have thought about giving the guy some water, but he would have just knocked on it if they... But he would have just choked on it if they had tried. Oh, bitch, my words aren't coming right out at all. I'm getting tired. What, you think this glass was the murder weapon? It's bad luck, Adonai. Whacked him on the back of the head so fast it went between video frames. That's genius. You should go through the footage frame by frame to prove your theory. But sure. It's bad luck. What have you been going on about? Salt? Shouldn't a machine be above petty superstition? It's not superstition. It's an ancient wisdom. Give me one logical reason to care then. If too much salt spills onto your food, it'll make you gag. Maybe it's on me for setting the bar too low there. You've now had the chance to survey the crime scene. Yeah? So do you think you know what happened? Detective, is his body still at the hospital morgue? Yeah, he's at Gatesfield. Along with along with a half hundred noble megs who've all called dibs. Then I'll just have to cut in line. Sarah, get me a ride. I cannot read. Sarah, get me a ride to Gatesfield Memorial. What? You can do that, can't you? I can. But I need your payment information to get started. Yeah? Okay. Understood. On my way down. Got it? Sync complete. Set pickup for 10 minutes should be plenty. The crowd down there seems to have gotten quite large. 10 minutes to reach the pickup spot may be an ambitious target, Adonai. How bad can it be? $12:21, July 1st, 2086. As I approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger, but there's something else happening out there. The energy's not panicked yet, but it's creeping up on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? The hell's got them all so excited? Adonai, what does that symbol mean? In this rabble? Probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with a bullet hole. I don't know. It's probably nothing. Based on the net associations, it appears to be a symbol for the heartbreak killer. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol or a following or whatever these people are? And why the hell would they be outside David Asher's apartment? Because Noble's trying to cover up the truth. They are? Those Megs in there are scrambling to shred every document they can. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try to catch them when they go to dump the scraps. Sarah, what are you hoping to find? Proof that Asher was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle on heartbreak? Noble doesn't want the world to know that A16 is sentient and homicidal. You think that heartbreak is an android? You think whoever did all that was human? Noble's advanced prototype went amok and started killing random people. Don't be a lamb. It only looks random. There's a clear pattern, as long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit. Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? Stop engaging. Smart kid. She gets it. She's asking the right questions. What the hell are you talking about? No way those victims weren't related. gotta be deniable ops. They must have all been in DO together before getting their records bleached. Then, as soon as they outlived their usefulness, what are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Warm android so perfect no one could tell the diff. Bullet to the heart's the only way he could kill those over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion. See, stop saying and start moving. These people are insane. Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you can be the cyberpunk? Be the cyberpunk without ever thinking for yourself? What does be the cyberpunk mean? You think it's a coincidence victim number 6 was working on hardcode crops? They're putting something in the food. Those people. Heartbreak. This is goddamn embarrassment. The hell am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down? What about you, Adonai? What do you think about this heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. Should be called in sentence like any other murderer. But they must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have... Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. And yet there's only one heartbreak. So you think they were just born that way? That's my guess. That's unsatisfying. Sad. I don't see why it would be. If heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. If heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people have to ever worry about turning out like them. It's that kind of predestination. It means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. They can make them take responsibility. As soon as they catch them. They make it sound so trivial. They're a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Just? If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years and 11 months. I'm gonna read that one more time. If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years and about 11 months. Okay. Weird number to pull out of your ass, Morgan, but okay. In order to have killed 413,789 people. You did that in your head? I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years. But what is the significance of that number? Deaths within 18 months of the Blakeport industrial disaster. Times that number by 2 for the injuries, tack on another 183% for the birth defects. 413,000 dead. There wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error, some shoddy welding, and time. So you think that heartbreak is nothing by comparison? Perhaps that is the problem then. If they're nothing, if they represent nothing, then they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to. Please make way. Officials are coming through. Please disperse. Keep walking, pigs. Fascists! Nobles, the cops. Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick to prove them wrong? You know what I mean. They're the only people in the city trying to do some goddamn good, and they all just... It's just part of our job, detective. No offense, man, but wearing a police badge earns you a little bit more hate than that. Do they give prosecutors badges? I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open? This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai. How do I unhide the UI? What the fuck? Breaking out the thesaurus on me? I'm only being realistic and humble. I'm just one woman, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than 1% rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Do you tell that to your clients? No, but they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. Same deal applies to anyone who works for the state. The terms are stark, but the ink dried a long time ago. We all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, so... I traded freedom for safety, individual rights for collective power. The state won and the citizens lost. The very least we can do is take their criticisms head on. Look, I don't have a problem with the responsibilities of authority. Only with authority being challenged. They treat us like we're the bad guys. But sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong. So if any given individual is too small to ever affect change, so if the public's going to hate us no matter what we do, and if corporations and governments will trample over people the same regardless of their character, and if we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing, what do you do, Adonai? What the hell do we do? I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you'd think. Times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is, the only moral way to act is, do whatever it takes to win. I want to do another screenshot, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose it again.